to know that there was someone in our school system who preyed upon young children it's unthinkable.
A teacher from Maryland is accused of sex crimes involving a 9-year-old student, and now the state's attorney says she thinks there are more victims.
So the facts of every case are heartbreaking. This one is beyond what anyone could imagine.
I have the disturbing allegations being made against Mark Cobb and what police claim he said to the girl. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Just when you think you've heard it all when it comes to these cases involving teachers, we hear about this case out of Maryland. Mark Cobb is a teacher at Cooper Lane Elementary School in Prince George's County, but he is not in the classroom right now. He's in jail facing sex crimes charges involving a child who was a student at the school, and he's charged with possessing child pornography. At this point, the allegations involve a 9-year-old girl at Cooper Lane Elementary School who was a student of Cobb's. An affidavit says Cobb's was texting with the girl from June of 2023 through this month. The affidavit says during these conversations, the student sent nude photos of herself to Cobb. The affidavit continues. On 8/25 of 2024, a minimal facts interview was conducted with the victim. She advised she would chat with her teacher, the defendant, over text message and Roblox. She advised that during one of their text message conversations, the defendant asked if he could taste her. Yes, that is what they said he said. Police wrote in the affidavit that Cobb asked the girl to produce sexually explicit images of herself for him. Here's State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy.
I just can't imagine how sick a person has to be to have this type of conversation, a very sexually explicit conversation with a 9-year-old. With a 9-year-old. It's outrageous.
Cobb faces 1 count of sexual abuse of a minor, 1 count of child pornography distribution, and 9 counts of possession of child pornography.
Mr. Cobb, his attorney decided to waive his bail hearing, so he is continuing to be held without bond. As I believe you all mostly already know, Mr. Cobb teaches at Cooper Lane Elementary School. A 9-year-old student reported to her mother that he had asked her for naked pictures. And when confronted with that, he admitted that he had done that. During a search warrant at his home, police found hundreds of files of child sexual abuse material, also known as child pornography, and he has been charged with that as well. We would encourage any other victims to please speak to the police. We will handle your case with the same care that we handle all of our cases.
On Monday, detectives say they executed a search warrant on Cobb's home, and they said they found more than child pornography. The affidavit says, furthermore, in the defendant's office, an object with the victim's name was located in close proximity to a black bag. This black bag was found to have several pairs of children's underwear packaged individually in plastic bags. Several of these articles appeared to be worn.
I'd like to thank our young victim for coming forward. I'm sure that it took courage. I also want to thank our law enforcement partners for, number one, believing our victims. It is so important that we start from a place of belief, and we also start from a place of support. And so we will continue to support our victim and any additional victims who may be discovered throughout this process. This is a very serious case. It's very concerning. The facts of this case are unimaginable.
Cobb's LinkedIn page says he's been a teacher at Prince George's schools since July of 2019, and before that, he also owned a photography business, which apparently is still up and running. The Facebook page for that business says he's always looking for models. Cobb's LinkedIn page also says, related to his teaching career, I am currently working on my doctoral degree in educational leadership. I look at education as a foundation for any and everything that will be done in life. I feel that students deserve a high-quality education regardless of background or the background that they come from. Also, I feel that teachers need and deserve the support of the administration, parents, and local community. As one who tends to look and think outside the box, I look for ways to solve educational issues and problems. Cooper Lane Elementary School sent a letter home to parents. Part of it reads, I want to assure you that the safety and well-being of our students is our top priority, and any behavior that brings harm to a student will not be tolerated. The letter continues, our school is fully cooperating with law enforcement as they conduct their investigation. However, due to the nature of the investigation, there are limitations to the information we can share at this time. These cases involving allegations of sex crimes against teachers are very disturbing, but we're able to tell you about them because of sponsors like City Lips. City Lips is not a painful lip plumper that stings and burns. City Lips gives you fuller, healthier, younger looking lips. It uses clinically tested ingredients and soothing moisturizers. Just swipe it on clean, bare lips, and after a few minutes, you will experience the full effects of City Lips. To try City Lips, click the link in the description, scan the QR code on your screen, or go to citybeauty.com/LCCrimeFix. Use the code LAW15 for 15% off of your order. Aisha Brave Boy is the state's attorney for Prince George's County. So thank you so much for coming on. Tell me a little bit about these allegations. We played some of your sound bites earlier in the show from your press conference, but, just some really disturbing allegations about this teacher approaching this student and saying some really awful things.
Oh, absolutely. It has been just, horrific to think that an adult, someone in a position of authority and in so many ways power over a young child, a teacher, would exploit, would target a young person in that way, a very young person. We're talking about an elementary age child. And some of the language that was used would be, I think, just disrespectful to an adult, but certainly to a child, that is just unimaginable. So I am very committed to getting justice for this child, for our community, and to send a very strong message that this type of behavior will not be tolerated and you will face severe consequences.
Do you believe there are more victims out there?
We know without a doubt that there are more victims. Now, what we can't say is that there are more local victims where he may have had direct access to, but any child who is in an image, a pornographic image, a sexually abusive image, is a victim. And we know for a fact that there are numerous images that were in his home. And so each of those children deserve justice.
He has a photography business, and I saw on his Facebook page for the photography business, it said something like, I'm always looking for models. Is there any suspicion or fear that that photography business may have been a front for something?
At this point, everything is on the table. In our Prince George's County Police Department, who is our investigating agency in this case, is going to follow every lead. We will work with our department to ensure that any search warrants that need to be executed are executed properly so that we can gain all the information and material that we can to hold this individual fully accountable for every crime he's committed against every victim that we can identify.
The affidavit said that he waived his Miranda rights and he admitted to saying some of these things to the student. He admitted to texting her. It seems very damning at this point.
I mean, it is. And I think that, some of the information that we have and that the police were able to obtain, it was very clear. I mean, I think it would have been very difficult for him to deny that these conversations occurred, to deny that he was the person communicating this just disgusting, messages with this child. So him confessing, I think, was a result of how clear the evidence was against him. We know that the conversations between them started in about June of 2023 and ended just a few days ago in August, earlier in August. So this was over a year of grooming this child. And I have no doubt that we will find other victims, whether they were local victims where he had direct access or not. We're not sure about that part, but we know that he does have images that are sexually abusive to children that were in his possession. And our job is to seek justice for everyone.
And police obviously are actively investigating this, and those electronics will be analyzed, things of that nature.
Absolutely. His phone, any equipment that he has, laptops, computers, we will get to the bottom of it. Absolutely.
Well, it is a disturbing case, and I know you commended the victim for having the bravery to come forward. It's a really hard thing for a little girl to do.
It really is, especially since individuals who are grooming children, they are pretty sophisticated in how they deal with children. They understand the psychology of children. So he, obviously gained her trust, and she disclosed over a year after this started. And so that tells us that he was able to make her feel comfortable. But at some point, she realized that something was wrong, and she spoke up. And so what I would tell children and parents, I don't care when it happened, if you were a child, and let's say you're an adult now, but if you were a victim as a child, you can still come to us. Our office starts from a place of belief. And then we work with our law enforcement partners to investigate the claims. And if we have enough evidence to move forward, we will move forward. We have moved forward on historic cases that were over a decade old, and we have gotten justice for victims. So we can't guarantee in every case that we'll get the outcome that is just, but we will definitely try. So we are committed again to protecting children. And one way of doing that is sending a very strong message when we have a case such as this, that this will not be tolerated, that you will face swift and severe consequences. And that is what justice requires.
State's Attorney Aisha Brave Boy, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to bring in Dan Schorr. He is a former sex crimes prosecutor. Dan, the allegations here are incredibly disturbing, as they always are with these cases. But in this instance, this was particularly bold, with a teacher reaching out to a 9-year-old girl and saying things like, I want to taste you.
Right. It's extremely disturbing. And even beyond just this one victim and that's disturbing enough, it sounds from law enforcement that there are photos and other evidence of child pornography that this defendant has in his home. And that has led law enforcement to say they know there are other victims out there and they're trying to identify who they are. I think it's safe to make the assumption that law enforcement's making that conclusion from the evidence they found in the home. So it's obviously extremely disturbing that this one 9-year-old was subjected to this, but it appears that there is more out there and other victims that need to be identified.
They found the child pornography, it sounds like, in a cursory search, according to what we've read. So they will do a more thorough examination. And so I'm assuming you believe, as somebody who's got a lot of experience in this area, that they may have just scratched the surface here.
It sounds like it from the affidavit from law enforcement. They're saying that they have, through a preliminary search, found other evidence of child pornography. They've also said they know there are other victims out there, which is an unusual statement from law enforcement. Usually law enforcement will say there may be other victims. We're trying to assess if there's other victims. Here they said we know there are. And I think the reasonable assumption is that they're basing that on the child pornography evidence that they have, which may depict other people. And a lot of times photos and videos of child pornography don't always show someone's face. So they might not know who the victim was, but it sounds like they're really confident that there are other victims out there. It's really important that they be identified for a number of reasons.
The state's attorney has commended the victim in this case for telling her mom about this. And of course, she's a 9-year-old little girl. very young, very impressionable. But this was going on for a while, over a year. And that to me is really troublesome.
Yeah, it also highlights the need of parents to monitor what their children are doing. This 9-year-old was supposedly texting with this teacher, sending photos of herself, and that a 9-year-old doesn't know what's right or wrong at that point, and it's understandable why, especially when someone who's influential to them in their lives, such as a teacher, tells them to do things, they may think it's okay. But it's really important for parents to have controls on any phone or iPad or any other device that someone as young as 9 is using, so you can monitor and limit their ability to contact other people. Now, one complication here is she was writing with a teacher, so maybe they did have parental controls, but the parental controls allowed the girl to write to her teacher, which is an understandable accommodation that a parent would make. You'd think, okay, I want to make sure they don't talk to random people online, but I'm okay if they write back and forth with their teacher. So it's possible that the parents were monitoring it and having restrictions, but the teacher took advantage of that.
They also say that some of this was happening on Roblox, and, kids play on Roblox, so that's a video game. So you think of kids talking to other kids on Roblox, not necessarily an adult or a teacher, but obviously, predators lurk on these gaming systems as well.
Predators lurk on those places like that and others. And I've seen many cases where you have a predator who the victim doesn't know, who takes advantage of them. But I think it is important to stress that a lot of sex abuse cases come from someone who is in a position of trust with the victim. Yes, there are strangers who take advantage of people online. We should definitely be concerned about that. But the majority of cases I've seen involve someone who's in a position of trust, who a family may feel, oh, that person's safe, or the victim feels, okay, I should listen to that person because they're a trusted teacher or a relative or counselor or something like that. And that may be the case here, where the defendant violated that trust of being a teacher to say, well, you should do certain things. And especially for a 9-year-old, it's tough to say no to your teacher, right? We're taught, listen to your teachers. That's one of the basic things, that when you're growing up, be respectful to your teachers, listen to your teachers, don't say no to your teachers. That's something that we're all taught as a little kid. And then a teacher can take advantage of that.
Dan Schorr, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great talking to you.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.